Star Trek answered a big question about Kirk's retirement 28 years later. When Star Trek Generations hit theaters in 1994, it marked the dramatic end of Captain James T. Kirk's storied Starfleet career and his life. But even with his heroic sacrifice on the planet Veridian 3, one major question lingered for decades. Did Kirk ever truly retire before his mysterious disappearance? Now, nearly 30 years later, Star Trek Picard finally gives us an answer, and it's far more nuanced and tragic than fans might have expected. Kirk's mysterious fate after the Enterprise B. At the end of the 23rd century, Star Trek Generation saw Kirk swept into the temporal nexus during the christening voyage of the Enterprise B, an event officially logged as his death. From Starfleet's perspective, Kirk died a hero saving hundreds of Elorian refugees. But Trekkies knew better. Kirk lived on in the timeless nexus, only to re-emerge 78 years later and perish helping Jean-Luc Picard stop the villainous Dr. Tolian Saran. This left fans with a gaping hole in Kirk's story. Between his final mission as captain of the Enterprise A decommissioned at the end of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, and his death on the Enterprise B, did Kirk ever get to enjoy retirement? Or was his entire life defined by duty until the very end? The Legacy Files. Kirk's body was recovered. The Star Trek Picard Season 3 finale, The Last Generation, quietly drops one of the biggest bombshells in the franchise's history. While exploring the Daystrom Institute Section 31 vault, the crew discovers a preserved body tagged with a name no one expected, James T. Kirk. This canonical confirmation that Kirk's remains were recovered from Veridian 3 opens the door to a long-avoided truth. Starfleet finally acknowledged Kirk's true fate and began honoring it. The fact that his body was preserved by Section 31 implies more than just interest in his remains. It suggests that Star Trek finally recognizes Kirk as more than a ghost lost to time. He was a man who deserved closure, and now, through this revelation, he may finally get it. The conflicted captain. Hints of restlessness. Kirk's final scenes in the Undiscovered Country teased his unease with retirement. After making peace with his Klingon adversaries and concluding his last mission aboard the Enterprise A, he gave the order to head for one last cruise. That line hinted at reluctance, a man still addicted to the stars, uneasy with the idea of settling down. In Generations, Kirk's time in the Nexus reveals even more. When Picard finds him, the Nexus offers Kirk an idealized version of retirement, a peaceful cabin in the mountains, a quiet life with a loving partner, and his dog Butler by his side. But even in paradise, Kirk is restless. He senses that this life isn't real. He misses the adrenaline, the risk, the purpose of being a starship captain. This illusion of domestic bliss reveals something critical. Kirk tried to accept retirement, but it never suited him. The man was built for adventure, and without it, he felt hollow. Picard's perspective sheds light on Kirk's path. In Picard Season 3, the themes of aging, legacy, and final acts are brought into sharp focus. Admiral Picard struggles with his own identity post-Starfleet, paralleling the same struggle Kirk faced. But while Picard gets a second chance to reconnect with his son and confront mortality on his own terms, Kirk never got that luxury. By including Kirk's body in the Daystrom vault, Star Trek draws a line between these two captains. It invites fans to reconsider the question, what does retirement look like for a man who defines himself by duty? For Picard, it's reconciliation and legacy. For Kirk, it was sacrifice and mystery, until now. Could Kirk's story continue? With the reveal of his preserved body, Star Trek has reopened the book on Kirk's final chapter. In universe, advanced technology like Genesis devices, cloning, and even temporal manipulation exist. While Picard doesn't suggest any resurrection attempts yet, the show subtly acknowledges that Kirk's story might not be over. More importantly, it reframes his post-Enterprise B fate. Fans no longer need to imagine Kirk dying unceremoniously in a forgotten canyon. Now, we know Starfleet eventually honored him enough to preserve his remains, perhaps even with the intention of remembering or reviving him someday. Kirk's legacy finally comes full circle. The question of Kirk's retirement haunted the Star Trek canon for decades. Did the greatest Starfleet captain hang up his boots and live out a peaceful life? Picard's answer is bittersweet. He never truly retired, but he was finally remembered.